Now, Eyewitness Sports.
Hey everyone, you are watching and or listening and or downloading and or social media.
It would have been downloaded if they're listening at this point.
WPRI OOT with Yanni Karakis. I'm Ruthie Polinsky. Maury Hirsch-Gordon is out on a riveting story today.
Out on assignment, we'll say.
Out on assignment. To be decided, or to be announced, what that exciting assignment was today. So we have a lot to talk about. A big night for Rhode Island last night, sports fans, just in general. We'll start with the Celtics. Big road win at Golden State. Probably the most unexpected thing.
Very unexpected.
That was going to happen. I think if you would have asked me yesterday morning, what do you predict in this game tonight, I would have said Celtics lose by 72.
I think I jokingly said in the office, what if the Celtics just roll them tonight?
Did you say that?
Yeah, and no one expected that.
Humble brag.
Do you believe in the Celtics after the win?
You just took my question. Do you believe in the Celtics?
I can't say definitively after the Golden State win that I am all in on them, but it's obviously a great sign. Not only because they won by double digits and they looked so good and they played unselfishly and they had some fight in them, literally fight in them last night. We saw there with Terry Rozier, but the statements after saying that we had a great cross-country plane ride. Anyone who's flown cross-country knows none of those are great. They're long and awful. And so something happened on that plane ride that sort of helped their situation with all the drama. Kyrie said he had a good talk with Brad Stevens and Danny Ainge. You have Gordon Hayward showing up with a black eye. So was there physically some tension that was relieved there? Did they brawl? Can you imagine like 12 guys brawling on the plane and getting out all of the anxiety and issues? Whatever the case may be, all of that stuff was good last night. Can they win tonight in Sacramento?
Right.
If they lose and look like garbage like they had been, then what did it all mean? So obviously they have to parlay this into something, but obviously it's a great sign. But it's also like, there's 82 games. How often do good teams just sort of have a clunker? And Golden State's lost, I think, 5 games at home by 20 or more. So that isn't an aberration as much as it used to be when they never lost at home.
Well, the biggest thing to me is, like, if the Celtics and the Warriors play a 7-game series, the Warriors are going to win that series, like, without a doubt in my mind. So do you have hope that the Celtics, I just don't have hope that the Celtics can win a series at this point because they're so inconsistent. There's all this drama, which seems to be changing on a day-to-day basis. Like, one day Kyrie feels really good, one day Kyrie feels really bad, and is he the guy that's dictating the mood of the team? Because he sure says he is. And so are you going to listen to him when he's like, I'm making sure that my team, you, like, no, like, we are a we. Like, that's the number one thing when you talk about a good leader is that, like, you don't put yourself above and talk down to the guys. Like, and that's just, like, I just don't. The tension with Kyrie is my biggest problem. So you think if the team goes
as his mood swings go, then they're still in trouble. There'll be ups and downs.
There's no chance. And the word toxic that Jaylen Brown used prior to the Golden State game is a problem because toxicity is not a quick fix where it's like, okay, we like punched each other and we feel better. Like, if there's a toxic, like, dudes don't like each other. And
so
that's
I just read something today that the word toxic was sort of taken out of, like he said environment around them is toxic. So I don't know if them in the locker room, 12 of them are toxic as much as all the noise.
Interesting.
But obviously what you're saying is true. You can't thrive on a toxic environment. But if they start placing some wins together, win after win, and they seemingly like each other, they have enough talent.
Absolutely.
Like, it's like goes back to the old Shaq and Kobe thing. They didn't like each other for multiple seasons, but we're still winning. Sometimes talent trumps all. You want everyone to sing Kumbaya and be hunky-dory together, but that's not always the case. So if they could sort of just put that to the side for a little bit.
And here's the thing. We could look back in a couple months and say, remember that Golden State game? That was the turning point in the season. That was awesome. They flew on that flight. Gordon Hayward had a black eye, and then all of a sudden they started playing really well together. So, like, maybe that's what's going to happen. How are we supposed to know? But
and listen, basketball, it's one of 82, so one game is not as big of a sample size. But we've seen in NFL seasons where things change. I mean, Super Bowl week, how much were we talking about? After the Steelers game, the Patriots addressed some issues following the Dolphins and Steelers loss. So maybe this is the turning point. And I think the East is wide open enough that if they can get their stuff together, then maybe it is Celtics and Warriors.
What I liked about the way that the guys played last night was there's so much energy, so much dog to their game and playing for each other and picking each other up
Yeah.
off the floor and taking charges, and like we haven't really seen that kind of Celtics energy this season, and to see that with Aaron Baines and that just felt really good.
Yeah.
That felt like this is going in the right direction.
Yeah, that little tussle they had was great.
Love
because show some fight.
Please.
Like you care.
Please.
All right. Free agency starting next week.
Seamless transition.
In the NFL. The Patriots did not use a franchise tag, so they have several guys on the open market. The ones they were rumored to possibly have tagged would have been Trey Flowers, Trent Brown, and Steven Gostkowski. So, what are your predictions on those three leaving or coming back? And the rest of the pool that includes Chris Hogan and Philip Dorsett and a myriad of other guys.
I hope they pay Trey Flowers. I want them to pay Trey Flowers. I want them to give him the highest number, so that it's not even a choice for him, because he likes being there, and that's a clear, I think, consensus that he wants to be there, because who doesn't want to be competing for a Super Bowl every single year? And so I do feel like there's this. The staff and Belichick, they love Trey Flowers and they love what he brings to the team. Nobody works harder than Trey, but that's Bill's thing, right? To
He says that about everyone.
Good luck, right? He says about everyone, and then he's like, all right, good luck, go get paid somewhere and not win. So I hope Trey Flowers is back. I think I know what you feel about SG3.
I guess you think I've been overly critical of Steven
No,
Gostkowski.
you just
The
don't
reality
trust him.
is he's missed a bunch of kicks.
Yeah.
The one he hit to ice the Super Bowl is huge. I'm not going to
Missed
undersell.
one prior to that.
He missed one prior to that. He's had an ability to miss a lot of kicks in big games. But I think Steven Gostkowski is probably better than the alternative. Do you want the Patriots to take a flyer on some kicker you've never heard of, or some journeyman kicker, and then he cost you a couple
And
games?
we saw how many.
Listen, is there a huge market for Steven Gostkowski? Is some team going to open up their checkbook and say, what do you want to Steven Gostkowski? I think he's back. I think Trey Flowers is gone. I know they like him, but a pass rusher, and while his sack numbers aren't gaudy, he gets pressure on the quarterback. He does things in the run game, but it's like, guys at that position in the Patriots system are never going to be like a Von Miller hitting free agency where like this guy's going to have 18 sacks this year. But because based on the depth of that position in free agency, he's going to probably get overpaid. Mike Giardi was saying maybe it's a situation where the Pats say, go test the market, come back to us, what's your number?
Yeah.
And then maybe they're just like, hey, we can't do it.
Yeah.
Or maybe we'll match it. I think all things being equal, they probably have a number they're willing to pay him. And if some team really overpays Flowers, then he's probably gone. And they want him to stay here, but it's just how the Patriots do business.
Yeah.
And it works for them. And it's been successful for them. So I think Flowers is gone. I think Brown is gone for similar reasons.
Trent Brown.
He's the ultimate Patriot reclamation project. Great 1 year, boosts his stock. Left tackles are so important in this league. And obviously they have Isaiah Wynn. So, which is funny because Trent Brown is 7 feet 8 tall. He's so tall, and Isaiah Wynn is. They describe him as short and stubby arms, but still really
athletic. Yeah.
You can do left tackle in different ways.
After watching Trent Brown and the role he played in Brady's protection and success, why not just if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It's an important position.
That's important, and it worked. And
but then what do you do with Wynn? You move him to left, and then what do you do with Joe Tooney? You already,
right.
Maybe you move. Wynn was technically a guard, I think, at Georgia. He played guard and tackle.
Right. It's going to be interesting.
Shaq Mason's locked up. Andrews is there at center. They like him. Or am I forgetting the right tackle's name?
Who?
The right tackle?
Shaq Mason?
No. He's the guard. Marcus Cannon. I forget his contract situation.
Yeah.
As for some of the other guys, obviously Edelman's the only receiver who's under contract besides Josh Gordon. We don't know what's going on with there. Dorsett, 50-50. He's not going to get a ton of money. Maybe they bring him back if there's nothing out there for him. Hogan, does someone overpay for Hogan because he's had some success with the Patriots?
I could see that happening.
As we've seen, he's not a 1 or a 2. When the Patriots were forcing that issue because they had no depth at the position, he clearly was
in this system. He was not a 1 or a 2.
I don't think he's a 1 or 2 anywhere. He can't separate from a 1 or a 2 corner. He just can't.
Right.
So where does he belong in the NFL? So the Patriots probably have more use for him than other teams. So I don't know. I guess he's back. I'll say sure. Chris Hogan's back. Dorsett leaves. What do you think on those?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Dorsett maybe sees more potential to be a 1 or a 2 somewhere, just with his speed, maybe. But he was, as, kind of that guy to come in when needed for Brady, he was off. Like, he didn't drop a pass for like the last.
It feels like the Patriots are hesitant to give him a bigger role, though.
Yeah,
I don't know. When he's thrown to, he catches the ball. He has a really good success rate on targets. And then some other guys, Cordero Patterson. He's up. Malcolm Brown.
He was just the experiment, like just kind of
yeah.
utility. Like where do you need me?
I think he's gone.
Yeah,
Malcolm Brown's a big body, but he's sort of been. I know you're a big Malcolm Brown fan. I think he's sort of been a disappointment. Those are the only other names that come to mind right now. But like I tweeted this out yesterday. The guy who does the salary cap. The amount of guys that last past their first contract in New England aren't a lot. There was a list of Patriot players drafted by year and who's still here. Going back to like 2016, 2 years ago, there's only 2 or 3 guys.
That's wild.
From that team, from that draft class. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
As always, Bill's the best at finding diamonds in the rough, guys who are underused or undervalued elsewhere, and they come here and they do well. The Lawrence guys of the world, Trent Browns of the world, and they sort of live off those guys and make $2, $3, $4 million a year, aren't terribly expensive, and they're here for a year, and so.
In a lot of ways, Trent Brown almost feels like the most important.
More than Flowers?
More than
if you're riding or dying with Brady.
Right now, like just thinking about it, like I feel like Trent Brown is so great and does so much, and it would be hard to replace him, but like more so with Trent Brown when you have Tom Brady as your quarterback who's going to be 43 or 42.
42.
Like,
so you're
keep him up.
So you're worried about, you don't think Isaiah could come in and do it?
I don't know.
I would give him. I don't know. It's tough. It's a numbers game, and they've been uncharacteristically healthy other than him going down for the year, but at offensive line. All right. What's our last?
Next and last, we'll switch gears to
Tuesday.
college basketball. Fats Tuesday. 41 points in the Rams' overtime win over St. Joe's in Fats' hometown. Really happy for the kid. That was an unbelievable game to watch for him. That was awesome. So can a streaking URI team make a run in the A10 tournament? That's an easy question for me because the answer is yes. I mean, it's March, baby. This is when teams get hot and they stay hot and they can win. And the A10 is just so meh to me. Like, there's no one really that like is unbeatable. So give me Fats.
Are you picking URI to win the league tournament?
I mean, no,
they have
I'm
a
not.
1 in 14 chance.
I'm not predicting them to win the tournament, but it could happen. Can a streaking URI team make a run?
Yes. All right.
Yes,
can they make a run at the A10? What does a run mean? Can they win? They need to win it if they want to go to the dance. A run doesn't really help them. They're not going to make the NIT. Can they? Yes. Will they win it? No, because they need to win 4 games in a row, and this team has not shown the ability to play consistently over that span of time. I say that now as they've won 3 in a row. If they beat UMass Saturday, that's 4 in a row. The issue right now is they're slotted in that 8-9 line, so you have VCU in the second game, and they're an at-large team. They're a tournament team. They've separated from the pack. But we're finally seeing the guard play with Doughton and Russell that we've all been waiting for as the best guards in the league. And Cyril's been a beast, and they're getting some contributions from everyone playing some good dogged defense down the stretch. Yeah, they're good. I mean, they can win it. This is encouraging. I'd rather them playing this way now than in mid-February or January. And they've obviously, what did they lose, 5 in a row at some point? So maybe it's all just sort of clicking now, but the 3-point shooting was so bad for so long that, like, are they just sort of hot and are they going to cool off?
Right.
But yeah, like you said, it's March. Teams get hot and they can go on runs, and it's not like VCU is the reincarnation of like the undefeated Kentucky team. So. And
the way it's the shooting and it's the playing together, but it's the just knowing where everyone was last night. It felt like things were just really clicking offensively in terms of great passes, great communication, great just finding each other and then working and showing that like vintage roadie grit on defense, which felt like really. promising.
Winning back-to-back road games in overtime is
on the road. I mean,
at Dayton, which is a very hard place.
It was a little
and
bit of
St.
a home game, I
Joe's-
think, for Rhodey last night because I think Fats probably had 200 people there in Philly. But
I mean, how good of an environment is St. Joe's? I don't know.
Yeah.
But the Dayton one was impressive. That's because, like, if you're
Yeah.
on the road and you go to OT,
Absolutely.
I feel like that's hard to swing.
Absolutely.
I feel like it's like a
You
2-to-1
never pick
ratio.
the away team.
The away team
Right.
in overtime. So that was a huge win, and hopefully they can keep it going. UMass isn't good, so like they're going to be rolling into Brooklyn, assuming they win Saturday. 4-game winning streak, feeling themselves, and you know these these kids thrive off
Yeah.
of attitude and confidence and playing well, and so that bodes well for them.
really had great back-to-back wins for Coach Cox, and just kind of seeing the transformation
Yeah.
of his guys. It's a young team. We keep forgetting, like, these guys
Yeah. And
haven't played a ton of basketball together.
And if they finish 500 in the league, I don't know if that's a win, like preseason, 500 in the league, all right. But like from where they were,
Yeah.
I think you sort of go into the offseason like, all right, we made some strides.
And for those guys to go into that slump and lose 5 straight, and then they're they're playing for something. Like, they're going out every night with a purpose, and they haven't given up on the year by any means, which I think is really, like, it's hard not to do when you're struggling, and it just felt good last night after the win. Everyone was so happy for Fats. Like, you didn't get any feelings
Yeah.
of tension or jealousy, or just because Jeff and Fats, and they all kind of had to fill into new roles this year that maybe they weren't used to last year. So it felt really good to see them all happy and celebrating that win together. That's just a fun.
And
that's
Maury
just a good
mentioned
thing.
this last night, like a guy like Ryan Preston who was like suspended
Yeah.
and out of the mix, and he sort of had some big plays.
Yeah.
So, like you said, the fight in him. Do you remember what seed they were last year? Were they they weren't as average as URI is this year when they won, were they? They were probably like the 4 seed or 3
Kellen
seed.
Grady, and they
Yeah.
were good. Yeah, they were good. I don't remember, to be
Because
exact.
to win the tournament as an 8 or a 9,
Yeah, it's tough.
especially because you have to go through the 1.
Right. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But can a streaking URI team make a run in the A10 tournament? I say yes, they can.
Bold prediction. Yeah,
Sí
they
se
can.
puede.
They can.
Yeah.
All right. We'll touch on Brown and Brian and Providence. Providence plays tonight. Brian plays tonight. So for the process
Brian,
of timing and when you
you
listen
calling
to
an
this,
upset? We're taping this before the game.
no upset.
No
Are you?
upset.
Yeah.
I got a little. I would say there's a 17.
You need to make a decision.
17% chance for an
God.
upset.
And then Brown wins one of their games this weekend. They go to the Ivy, and then they lose to Harvard. That's my prediction.
I don't think they're going to lose to Harvard.
Damn.
They beat Harvard.
Wicked smart.
Wicked smart.
All right, that'll do it for Double OT. Maury will hopefully be here next week. That's Ruthie Polinsky. I'm Yanni Krokis. Thanks for listening and watching. We'll see you next week.